Asitugiri samam syat kajjalam sindhu patri Suraturuvar shakha likhuni patra murvi Likhati yadigiritva sarada sarvakalam Tadavita bhugunanam isha param nayati From Shiva Mahimna Stotram. O Lord, if the blue mountain be the ink, the ocean, the ink pot, the biggest branch of the celestial tree, the pen, and the earth, the writing leaf, and if by taking this, the goddess of learning writes forever, even then, the limit of your glory can never be reached. Om Shantihi, 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 peace, peace, peace be unto all. This morning our subject is Thoughts on the Gita, part 120. We are studying the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, the inquiry into the threefold shraddha. Shraddha. Krishna mentioned in the verse, I think in the third, Shraddha mayo vayam purusha, jojat shraddha saivasa. It is a beautiful message. A person consists of his or her shraddha. One is verily what one's shraddha is. I am using the word shraddha as I explained in previous class. This word is very difficult to translate into English. We generally translate shraddha means faith. It is not only faith, which inside the faith there is love, there is a steadiness, there is a strength, there is bravery. There are many ideas combined together make this word shraddha. Shraddha mayu vayam purusha. You are what your shraddha, your faith is. Whatever your shraddha, that you are. What are the degradation of India? Swamiji says, we lost Atma Shraddha. We lost faith in ourselves. All of our problems, always remember, the ground, the main problem is we lost the faith about ourselves. We have no faith. That is the reason Swamiji pounds again and again this Vedanta, which will bring faith in yourself. I can do it. This positive thinking, this self-esteem is vital in spiritual life for spiritual growth, even in worldly plane also. I was interviewing one devotee in California. She went for a job. And do you know what happened? It was a job bank. He was Swami as a bookkeeper in the bank. The boss asked, "Do you know it? Can you do this work?" "Well, of course I do." "Well, Swami, I have zero experience." Then she told the boss, "Just teach me, I shall do it." And she got the job. That is called self-esteem. I can do it. My guru used to say, if it is possible for one person, why not by me? That's shraddha. In family life, in your working place, in spiritual life, this shraddha is vital, that we are studying. The difference between man and man is difference of shraddha. Another devotee was complaining, "Swami, my two brothers do not want to take vaccine. Stubborn. But I took vaccine. I believe in science. This vaccine has been experimented and verified on thousands and thousands of people. And they got the result and said, it will work. At least 90%, it will work. Of course, 100% we cannot expect because this world is not absolute. So, this is very, very important. You know, I sometimes say the person, one of our devotees was telling that in Singapore, that if you do not take the vaccine, it is up to you. Government will not pay for your medical expenses. You spend from your own pocket. Good system. In America, government is giving freely this vaccine and some people do not take. That is the reason we say those who are vaccinated, they are welcome to Vedanta now. Vaccine. The scientists experimented, verified, then it is approved by FDA. It is safe. Sometimes I say, why then, when they have diabetes, why do they take insulin? Why, when they are sick, why do they go to a hospital? We have faith, you see. As it is true in medical science, so it is true in spiritual science. Sri Ramakrishna never taught anything which he experimented thrice. After experimenting, he said, it will work. If it works on my system, it will work on your system. That is the way the spiritual science goes. The medical science also goes the same way. That is faith. It will work. Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu shraddha. What is faith? The faith in your Guru, faith in the scripture. Faith in your Guru, faith in the scripture. There is a beautiful story in the Bhaktamal, the garland of devotees in that book. He was a saintly man. He used to teach the scriptures to his students. One day his wife came and said, "My sweet husband, we have no food at home." "What? There is no food at home?" Then he opened the Bhagavad Gita. In the 9th chapter, verse 22, Krishna said, "Ananyas chintanto mam ye jana purjupasate tesham nityabhijuktanam yogakshemam bhamyam." It is God's promise to humankind. The person with undivided devotion, one-pointed way, think of me. Mam yojana, worship me, meditate on me. Tesham nitya, such people, those who have such united, yoga kshemam bhahamyam, the thing which you do not have, I promise, I shall offer that thing to you. And the thing which you have, I shall preserve you. I shall preserve for you. That is God's promise to humankind. So he thought, what? God did not provide food to me. Do you know what did he do? He took a red pen and cut that line. Yogakshemam bhaimam, three marks. He said, God's words are not true. Cutting that mark, he left home for begging food. When he left home, within a short while, a young boy came a lot of groceries in a big basket to his wife and says, you know, I was a little late to bring food to you. That is the reason your husband beat me thrice. Look at my back. These are 3 lashes. Husband came back. His name was Arjun Mishra. He came back in the evening, and then his wife says, you are so cruel. Your student came and brought such food for us, and you beat him thrice. What do you mean? Well, look how much food he brought for us. He understood who brought food. He again went to his room and opened the Gita and wrote again thrice, Yogakshemam bhaimyam, Yogakshemam bhaimyam, Yogakshemam bhaimyam. I carry. That is called faith. God brings. In Himalayas, those who are monks have no medicine, no nothing. What do they do? Ushadam jannavitoyam Vaidyo Narayana Hari. This Ganges water is the medicine and God is the doctor. So they drink Ganges water. I don't have that faith. I go to Missouri Baptist Hospital and to my primary care doctor. I don't have that faith. And I don't like to disturb God for that. Another monk, he has a stomach problem. What did he do? He repeated this verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Am Vaishyanara Bhutva Dehinam Praninam Devamashrita Pranapano Samayukta Pachamennam Chotirbidam. Do you know who am I? I am that Vaishyanara, the fire god, that Agni. I stay in the stomach and digest the food, whatever you eat. And that way I generate energy in your system. So this monk had the stomach trouble. He was repeating this mantra and rubbing his stomach and repeating this mantra so that he can digest his food. Anyhow, faith, shraddha. That is called faith in the scripture. Faith in the Guru, I shall tell you a very nice story about Swami Vivekananda. At that time, Belur Math was just established, and Swamiji wanted that we should have a cow so that we can get some milk. So he asked his Marathi disciple, Swami Nishyananda, hey, go to the other side of the river, and from the cow market, buy a milk cow for us. But remember, hold on the rope of the cow, so that the cow may not run away. Thus, he went to the market, bought the cow, and put the cow in a boat. But when Ganges, when it moves, the cow jumps from the boat into the river. And this disciple also, holding the rope, jumped into the river, and several miles carried away by the current of the Ganges. And the news came, the other monk came to and reported to Swamiji, Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji was so worried. Shh! He's foolish, stupid, he doesn't have common sense. In the evening, the disciple and the cow came to the monastery. He went up to, I think near Howrah. From there came, Swamiji was telling, Sir, you are my guru, you told me to hold the rope, so how can I give up the rope? I jumped with the cow. That is called shraddha, faith in the words of the Guru. I'm just telling you how faith, shraddha, can do miracle. Now we shall start. Verse 4. Jajante sattvika devan jaksha rakshangshi rajasaha pritan bhuto ganashanye bhajante tamasa janaha. Sattvic people worship the devas, gods. Rajasikas worship the yakshas and rakshasas. And others, tamasic people, worship the pretas and host of the bhutas. Worship. We all worship. We worship beauty. We worship strength. We worship character. We worship wealth. We worship dollar. Worship doesn't mean that always you will have to worship with water, Ganges water and flowers. The thing which you want to achieve and divert all of your energy, effort to achieve that thing, that is called worship. We adore, we respect, we want to achieve. So these people, jajante sattika bhavan, those who are sattik, godly natured people, they worship gods. Jaksha rakshangshi rajasa, jakshas. Jaksha means god of wealth. Day and night they think about the stock market, how to make money. How can I be wealthy? Day and night, money, 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 and power. Rajasic people do that. How can I be a senator, congressman? How can I be the governor? I want power. They are Rajasic people. Krishna says, do you know what? All human beings is gunas, bhava, idea. It enters into the buddhi and forces us to do that action. That Krishna is doing. You know, sometimes when you read this Gita, what is this Jaksha Rakshangshi, what is this? You'll have to understand from the modern perspective. Pretan, Bhuta, Gunas, tamasic people on the lower inside. Puja. Do you know what is puja according to Vedanta? Uttamo Brahma Sadbhavo Dhyano Bhavastu Madhyama Usti is Stutir Japo Madhyamo Bhajya Puja Adama Adama. What is the highest worship? I am Brahman. Brahma Sadbhava. That is the highest worship. The divine God and the gods and myself, same substance. That cosmic consciousness and this individual consciousness, we are one. That is the highest worship. Dhyano bhavastu madhyama. If you are second class, meditate on God in your heart or on the picture. Stutir japo madhyamo, stuti, eulogizing God. Japam, this is the third grade. And bhajya puja, with flower, food, all these things, the external worship. That is the fourth. That is the highest worship. That is the gradation. We see people all around, all kinds of people in this world. You cannot explain that everybody will get PhD. Some are college, some are school, some... There is a gradation of human beings. Those who go to the temple with flowers and fruits and incense and go to the priest and do the worship, which is very important for them. They're beginners. That is the way worship goes. Sometimes Western people do not understand our gods and goddesses. Vedanta says, Chinmayasya advitiyasya nishkalayasya asharirina upasakanam karyartham brahmano rupakalpana. The Brahman is Chinmay, pure consciousness. Advitiya, one without a second. Nishkala, partless. Asharirina, bodiless. Then why you imagine a picture or an image or all these things? Upasakanam karyartham. There are some devotees, they want to imagine God that way. That is the reason they imagine God with form. That is the beauty of Vedanta. God is both formless and also God with form. That Sri Ramakrishna says again and again in the Gospel, Nirakar, Shakar. To the devotees, he has form. To a Jnani, he is formless. I used to ask one of my Muslim friends, I said, could you tell me when you pray, what do you think? Your God is formless, correct? But yes, our God has no form. Allah has no form. Then what do you think? But I think about black stone in Makkah, Kaaba. He is thinking a black stone in Makkah. Very devout Muslim. During Eid, he used to bring sweet for me in Calcutta. Just see, Christian people, when they meditate, what do they think? They think cross or Jesus, Madonna. As long as you have a mind, always remember, you will have to think a form. You cannot give up the form. That is the way it works. Jajanti. The Rajasic people, they worship money, enjoyment, physical strength, that they want to worship. We worship bodies, good food, good clothing, good comfort, good. Puja. We are all body worshippers. We know it very well, this body is not permanent. This body will die one day. We had a great actress in Hollywood, our devotee. When she became old, I wanted to see her, she won't see me. I lost my beauty. I cannot see you. Just see. Worship also of various kinds. Pratha, prem, bhav. 3 ways you can do worship. Formal worship, pratha, just ritualistic worship. As you go to the temple, they will throw flowers and you repeat some mantra and wave lights and wave incense. That is pratha. Just a custom, formal worship. Premier puja, worship with love. Perhaps you have no money to go to the temple. You are cutting a little fruits or flowers from your garden and offering to the Lord with all your love. and bhavir. There are some people, they do not have any external things. Through the mind, mental worship, they worship God. I am talking about puja. This all evolution of the minds. Everything is in the mind. Our great teachers showed us a better form. They did not condemn what we did. They only showed us that there is something better, something higher. By condemning someone, he or she is not going to desist from his or her actions. Educate him or her. That is what happened in India. You know, those who are going, do not criticize people. That is the way that persons, it is an evolutionary process. In a spiritual life, some may be the highest. There is one saint, Nishal Das, he could not find God to bow down. So meru hai atma kanku kuru pranam. See, God is my atma. How can I bow down to myself? He could not find God to bow down. That is highest worship. I am just telling you, worship, how Swami, all these things, Jajanti, Sattik, Rajasic, Tamasic people, how they worship. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante jeev tapujanaha dambha ahankara sangyukta kamarago balanvitaha. Those persons who practice severe strategies, not enjoined by the Shastras, the scriptures, given to ostentation and egoism, endowed with the power of lust and attachment. Tapasya comes from tap. Tap means heat. Heat, warm. When you repeat mantra continuously, heat generates inside. If you meditate with one pointed and deeply, your face will be red. All blood will come there. Heat generates. That he is talking about. Tapa. In Taittiriya Upanishad we read, Tapasa Brahma Vijigyasasva. The son went to the father and asked, Father, could you teach me Brahman? Tapasa Brahma Vijigyasasva. Practice austerity, then come and ask the question. Austerity. You must practice. You must practice. This tapasya brings Shakti inside. I sometimes watch soccer players, baseball players, how they practice before they go to the game. Practice. They make themselves ready to play. Same thing in the spiritual life. Preparation is vital for God realization. Look at the Olympic athletes. 4 years, those boys and girls, they practice every day. Then they go to the Olympic and get the gold medals. 4 years. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tappanti. Some people do it, without any teacher. Ashastra, not enjoying the scripture. Dambha, ego, ahankar, sangyukta, kam, raga, balanita. Egoism, endowed with power of lust and attachment, they practice. They fail. some Asuras. If you read the Puranas, Vritrasura, he was practicing austerity. Then Shiva came, what do you want? Well, I want that I have so many enemies, on whose head I shall put my hand, that person will die instantly. His head will disappear, will vanish. Shiva says, all right, bas. Vritrasura says, then let me experiment on you first. So Shiva ran away. So Vritrasura was chasing him. Then do you know what happened? Then Vishnu understood that Shiva is in trouble, I shall have to save Shiva. So he came in the form of a little young, beautiful boy and said, oh king of the Asuras, why are you running? Well, Shiva gave me a boon, I want to experiment that boon on him. You believe in Shiva? He smokes marijuana, hemp, lives in the cremation ground. His followers are all ghosts and hobgoblins, and you trust him. You better put your hand on your head and experiment first. The moment he puts his hand on his head, his hand is vanished. How the Asuras destructive force. Day and night they think, how can I destroy you? It becomes boomerang. They destroy themselves. That Krishna is telling. Dambho, ego, bhavanita. They do not follow the scripture. They are just by force. They want to gain power. And I remember once a person came and said, Maharaj, I meditate, but I do not have any good concentration. Then Swami answered, but that is good for you. What do you mean? Well, concentration brings power. Your mind is not disciplined. All of a sudden, if you get the power, you can destroy others. It's generous, destructive force. It's the two forces that are working in this world. Always remember, constructive, destructive. And mind, either it will go in a constructive way or in a destructive way. Just like Hitler's force. Hitler's force is a destructive force. That is the way. It is psychology. That is the way it works. As a result, I remember one of our devotee's son was in Vietnam War. He, they are frustrated. They are not winning. Then what did they do? Sometimes they killed some innocent people, the villagers, with a rifle, bam, 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 kill, as many as we can kill the Vietnamese. Do you know what happened? That person came back after the Vietnam War, mentally completely disordered, fear. I killed those innocent people. The guilt, fear entered his mind and made that person completely out of order. He told me. His father told me. Just see. This is called law of karma. If you kill, you will be killed. Karshanta sharirastam bhuto gramam achetasa mam chaivanta sharirastam tan vidhi asuran nishayan. Senseless as they are, they torture all the organs in the body, and me, who is dwelling in the body within, know them to be the Asurak resolve. As I said, the Asuras, demoniacal nature, they have something, the destructive force. I want to destroy. For that reason, they want to gain power. And when they gain that power through practicing austerity, as I said, through tapasya, through austerity, practicing, you gain power. When they gain power, they torture the body. Krishna says, I dwell inside the body of everybody. As a result, I am tortured. I remember, at that time I first came to California in 1970s. One girl came to me. She is fasting, I think 20 days or 21 days, only drinking water or something like that. Why? Came for an interview. Young American girl. But I did something, sinful act, so I'm expiating, I'm removing my sin through fasting, this, that. Then I said, you love Jesus. Jesus is crying, I see. He's sitting inside you. She was looking at me. I go, Jesus is crying, sitting inside you. Your body is the temple of Jesus. Go, eat food, and beg forgiveness from the Lord. You will be free from that guilt. You see, we sometimes torture our body. These people built cult. You remember some years ago in Texas, that cult, they killed so many people. They killed themselves. That is all tamasic people. Krishna this Gita says that what kinds of people you have around, in your family, in your society, in this country, in every world. These are the... So, do you know what does it mean? It means try to see your own nature, whether you have a tamasic nature or rajasic nature or sattvic nature. You counteract one by the other. That Krishna wants to tell us. If you have too much tamasic, lazy, Swamiji says, you should be rajasic, be active. And when you are too much active, come down, be sattvic. You can counteract one guna, quality, nature, by another nature. That is the reason we come to the spiritual life. We have worldly nature, we shall transform into spiritual nature. In worldly nature, always remember, greed, lust, anger. If your desire is not fulfilled, you will be angry. That is worldly life. And calmness, serenity, peace, bliss, that comes in spiritual life. Watch your life, where you are. You are in the worldly field or in the spiritual field. These are the shreyasya prayasya. Upanishad says shreya means good, praya means pleasant. Pleasant, this very moment, worldly life is very good. Puriname vishamiva. And afterwards it becomes poisonous, painful, burning. And the spiritual life just opposite. In the beginning, very painful, very hard. But at the end, joyful, peaceful. That is the way this world has been set up. All of us. Two natures. Divine nature, demoniacal nature, and divine nature. These two natures we are fighting inside. You have good tendencies, you have bad tendencies. All of us. We are fighting. That is called spiritual life. Struggle. Practice. Aharasyopi sarvaisya trivido bhavati priya. Yajnas tapas tatha dhanam tesham vedam imam shrinu. The food also, which is liked by each of them, is threefold, as also yajna, austerity, and almsgiving. Listen to this distinction. Food. Food. Three kinds of food. Sattvic food, Rajasic food, Tamasic food. Food has great connection with the human body and mind also. Human mind is made out of food, according to the Chandogya Upanishad. Annamayam manaha. The story goes, the son, Shetaketu, could not understand when father said, your mind is made out of food. How? My son, do not eat 16 days. Only drink water. You will not die. 16 days, no food. Come to me. After 16 days, now recite the Upanishad, recite the mantra which I taught you. But I am weak, I cannot remember. Go, eat food. Then came back, now recite. He recited. Did I not tell you? This mind made out of food. The food grows middle part and subtle part. Gross part goes out. Middle part forms flesh, blood, all these things. And the subtle part made the mind. Milk. When you boil the milk, the surface comes the cream. That is the mind. A food manufactures the mind. Ahar. Look how ahar works. Shankara defined ahar, aryate iti ahara. The thing which we gather inside, that is food. We gather food through the senses, not only through the mouth, through the eyes, through the ears, through the sense organs. We are continuously collecting materials from the outside to inside and feed the mind. That is called ahar. The Chandogya Upanishad, Sanat Kumar told Narada, Ahara Shuddhau, Sattva Shuddhi, Sattva Shuddhau, Dhruva Smriti, Smriti Lambe, Sarva Granthinam Vipra Moksha. If you constantly eat good food, your mind will be pure. And your pure mind will constantly recollect, think of God. And if you constantly think of God, you will be liberated. That Shankara says. Ramanuja also described food in three categories. Our food gets polluted in three ways. Jati dosha, nimitta dosha, ashraya dosha. Jati dosha means some food, some meat, onion, garlic, some kind of exciting wine, it will bring excitement of your body. That food is not good for your spiritual life. Then nimitta dosha. Nimitta dosha is not very, let me tell you what nimitta dosha is. It is very interesting to understand nimitta dosha. Jati dosha means যেমন wine, meat, all these things. Ashra dosha, from the person you are getting the food. Perhaps that person is ashuchi, unclean, oti kripon, extremely miserly, demoniacal nature, perhaps in a very bad disease, tuberculosis or some kind of contagious disease, that person gave him food. or khadya vikreta, mane 5 paribeshan kare. Mane the person who is serving food, that also very unclean. Mane very naive. Suppose somebody is blowing the nose with that same hand, you give serving food to you. That kind of thing. Nimitta dosha, if there is any dust, sometimes I saw in Calcutta footpath, they are selling food. The dust, all these things, some flies are sitting on there. Sometimes you will find somebody hair inside the food. Somebody is... Do you know what happened? In 1990, I went to visit Rome. I was my host. He's a single man. He made eggplant for me. He was cooking and eating with the same spoon, and same spoon he was stirring the food and eating. And I'm sorry that we went to the kitchen. With the spoon, and tasting, and with the same spoon he was stirring the food. Then I was watching that which portion he did not stir. So when the food is over, then I went there and ate a little bit. Then at night time, his name is Francisco. I go, Francisco, we shall go to a restaurant tonight. Oh, no, Swami, we have already food. I go, no way. We'll have to go to restaurant. We'll have to go to is there no Indian restaurant in Rome? Oh, yes, Swami, there's an Indian restaurant. So I went at 11 o'clock at night. I went to the restaurant. I couldn't eat that food. Ashraya dosha. So Ramanuja says this food will be contaminated that way. As a species, from the person it is coming, and at the same time it is dust, flies are sitting, and sometimes I see those things on the street, vendors sell those food and people go eat. It is God save their lives. Food purification is very important. I read the Wise of Wisdom, sometimes I read. The father told his son, bhalo khabe, eat well. Bhalo shobe, sleep well. Bhalo jagaye thakbe, and stay in a good place. The boy says, son says, I am poor, I cannot have all those things. Then he explained, bhalo khabe means you work very hard. When you are extremely hungry, at that time whatever you will eat, that will be tasty for you. Work hard. Bhalo shobe. When you are your body is completely tired, exhausted, at that time you may, wherever you will sleep, you will get a good sleep. It may be carpet or a couch, it doesn't matter. And bhalo thakbe means have a nice home. That means you behave with people with such goodness, with love, with devotion, so that everybody will love you. And that way, you will be able to live in the hearts of many people. These are the words of wisdom. Food. In the Charuk Samhita, in Ayurveda Shastra, the Rishi's name was Charuk. He wrote a book about Ayurveda, medicine. So after giving lessons to his disciples, he said, I want to test them. So he became a pigeon, bird, and sat on the tree. And he was telling, Koruk, Koruk, Koruk. Who is healthy? Who is healthy? Who is healthy? People could not understand. So one of his students he understood. So first, the moment he said koruk, koruk, he said hitabhuk. The person who has healthy food, he is, koruk means who is free from disease, who is healthy. But the person who eats healthy food, he is healthy. Again that pigeon, that bird says, koruk, koruk. Then the disciple replied, mitabhuk, mitabhuk, mitabhuk. The person who eats moderately, he is healthy. Overeating, obesity. Little level of eating also you will be very emaciated. Mitabhuk, moderate eater, he is healthy. Again the bird asked, koruk, koruk. He says, ritabhuk, ritabhuk. A person who eats at proper time, seasonal, or the food which has been collected in the right means, that person is healthy. It is a beautiful story that, hitabhuk, eat healthy food, nutritious food. Mitabhuk, moderately. Ritabhuk, right time, timely. Then you will be healthy. It is in Charak Samhita. Beautiful lesson. Here is a wise person and here is a foolish person. While both are working, their bodies are similar, but inside the minds are entirely different. Ahara. Krishna will explain these three kinds of ahara. Let me see how much I can go. Remember, Krishna mentioned, yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshchaisa karmasu. Eat moderately, sleep moderately, work moderately. This moderation is very important. Buddha also mentioned the same teaching. He tortured his body for God realization, for nirvana. Couldn't make it. He fell down. Then he says, I can kill the body, but I cannot kill my desire. The desire is my problem. So he says, I shall follow the middle path. What did he do? Here is the bina. If you make the bina too tight, you will not get the right sound. If it is loose, that wire will not bring the right sound. So he will have to tune it just right. Then he will get the right sound. That Buddha said, do not torture your body. Do not overeat, do not overdo, do not underdo. Middle path. Sri Ramakrishna also approved it. Sri Ramakrishna says, about food instruction, follow Bhagavad Gita. Middle path, moderation. Ayu satta banarogya sukha pitir vivardhana rasya snigdha stira riddha ahara sattika priya. The foods which augment vitality, energy, strength, health, cheerfulness, and appetite, which are savory and oleaginous, substantial and agreeable, are like... Huh? That is the Sattvic. That is the Sattvic food. Oh, did I go off the time? This is the, Krishna says, these are the signs of the Sattvic food. Rajasic food, Kottu Ambla Labana Tushna Tikshna Ruksha Vidahina Ahara Rajasischa Dukkha Shokamaya Prada The foods that are bitter, sour, saline, excessively hot, pungent, dry, burning, and liked by the Rajasic and the productive of pain and grief and disease. And Tamasic, yato jamam gato rasam puti porjusitam chayat uchistam apichamedham bhojanam tamasa priyam, that which is stale, tasteless, stinking, cooked overnight, refuse and impure is the food liked by the tamasic. Anyhow, Rajasic food, we understand that this thing which will vitality. It will bring vitality, energy, strength, health, cheerfulness, appetite. That is sattvic food. Rajasic food, sometimes I see when I go to Laguna, there is a restaurant called Las Brisas, Mexican restaurant. Very fancy. The food they eat, sometimes when you go outside, they have outside and inside both. I sometimes see how they eat that kind of food. Very Rajasic food. They are hot, anyhow, I can describe Rajasic food for us more. And Tamasic food, TV dinner. TV dinner, canned food. Somebody says, Swami, I cooked soup once a week, and whole week we eat that food. My God, that is good, too much for me. Oof, lazy, they do not want to cook. Coleslaw, all these things. I remember, I was in Hollywood, one monk ate meatloaf. That meatloaf was 3-4 days old. Ate it, had food poison. Came and knocked at my door. Swami, I am dying. What happened? I asked all monks, look. Then I had food poisoning. Then I called his doctor. Uncle, it's 2 o'clock at night. I said, here is a person, please take him to the hospital right now. Well, no, I took his stool and other things, for the lab test. When the test will come, then I shall take him. Uncle, by that time he will be dead. Right now you take him to the hospital. I scolded that doctor. Then the other 2-3 monks take him to the hospital. Luckily they survived. A meat 3-4 days old, meatloaf, food poison, dying. That is tamasic food. I am telling you that sometimes how food can act on human system. Anyhow, I want to, perhaps the next day, time is over, next day perhaps I shall try to elaborate a little bit about food, what we eat. Be careful. Make simple food, nice food, healthy food, and do not eat old food. Oof, that is no good. Yeah, well, Swami, I freeze. Well, your brain will be freezed. Frozen food will. Anyhow, main thing is that please use your common sense. And the food which make you happy, joy, eat. All right, thank you. Let me say my prayer. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayati girim yat kripat yamam bandi paramananda madhavam. I bow down to Krishna, by whose grace the lame scale mountains and the dumb become eloquent. May Krishna be the guide of our lives. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be untold.